Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. In this episode, I'm going to detail the story of a female Crip who was a part of 3 murders. Now Shaniece, she was a 17-year-old member of the East Coast Crips from the east side of South Central, and she went by the name Infant China. The East Coast Crips are a well-known gang, covering several blocks throughout the east side of South Central and various other areas. The East Coast Crips roots date back to the 70s, when since then, they have been looked at as a powerful powerhouse gang in the streets, known for being violent and willing to put on work on their enemies. And they will have a long list of enemies, for various blood and Crip gangs throughout LA County. They will even clash with some Mexican gangs, like F-13. They will even be very close to F-13, so many shootings and deaths would occur on both sides. In August of 2019, Shaniece will participate in the murders of Jose Flores and also Alfredo Carrera. They were getting gifts out of a car for a baby shower. Flores was getting his PhD at the University of California, Irvine. And Carrera was a father of an independent child. Being celebrated, his pregnant fiance watched him die. The shooting took place in F-13's turf, which were the main rivals of East Coast Crips at that time, being Shaniece's gang. The shooting happened when a car stopped and Shaniece was inside. After a brief altercation, Shaniece and 2 other defendants fired shots at the same time, killing both men. Shaniece sent a text message taking responsibility for the shooting and said that she was pleased to be on the news. Shaniece committed the random hit because, according to documents filed the day before, an East Coast Crip gang member was murdered by an F-13 gang member. An OG East Coast Crip gang member told the younger members that they needed to put in some work. Shaniece, along with 2 others, drove into F-13's neighborhood. Shaniece and the other East Coast Crips that she was with were running to Flores and Carrera, and also her 3rd victim. They would shoot and kill Flores and Carrera, and also shot the 3rd person, who was a juvenile, but they survived. Shaniece was 17 when she committed her first double murder. DA Jackie Lacey was planning to charge her as an adult, but George Gaskin was elected in 2020, and he enacted his blanket policy. So that meant juveniles would never be tried as adults. So instead of getting most likely a sentence of 25 years to life, she spent only about 4 years in the juvenile system, getting out in February 2023. Now Shaniece stands accused of murder once again. In June of 2024, just 4 years after her involvement in the Flores and Carrera murders, Shaniece is alleged to have aided and abetted 2 fellow East Coast Crip gang members in a murder of 21-year-old Joshua Streeter. Joshua was gunned down in a parking lot at Indian Hill Mall indoor swap meet in Pomona after he was said to have been lured there. Shaniece is now fighting that case.
And heartbreaking case because innocent lives were lost. Now the families of the victims are demanding accountability, not just from the person who committed the murders, but from Gascon himself.
It's devastating, honestly.
Nearly 5 years ago, Cynthia Carrera's brother, Alfredo Carrera, and his friend Jose Flores Velasquez were murdered in South Los Angeles simply because they were standing in a rival gang territory. Both men were not gang-related. Alfredo was about to be a father, and Jose was a student at UCI who had just accepted a job with NASA.
This was a cold-blooded murder, and it wasn't just one person. There was 2 people here that innocently lost their lives for no reason.
17-year-old Shaniece Dyer, a member of the East Coast Crips, was charged with premeditated murder by District Attorney Jackie Lacey and was set to be tried as an adult. That changed when George Gascon took office in 2020. Dyer was tried as a juvenile. She was in custody less than 4 years for 2 murders.
Still, it's a very hard hit, and now that we come to find out that this person has committed another crime, has done this to another family.
The same woman who killed Alfredo and Jose is now accused of murder once again, alleged to have aided and abetted in the murder of this man, 21-year-old Joshua Streeter. Shaniece Dyer would have been transferred to adult court under any administration for multiple reasons, including she was under the influence of adult men, her lack of any serious criminal history at the time.
Shaniece, aka Infant China, may be facing a lot of time, but her story is what you would call crashing out for your gang. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.